The Sharks extend their lead even further at the 27-minute mark of the third term. And Gary Buckenara, East Fremantle have firmed in favouritism for the 1998 West Star Rules Premiership.
Well, it's certainly been an impressive performance from them. They opened the game in blistering fashion in the first 10 minutes, and really West Perth have clawed their way back to half-time, but it's been all East Fremantle in this particular quarter. They've been driving the ball forward, creating loose men, and just putting the West Perth pressure for a back line under enormous pressure. And there's the kick, good kick from outside 50 from young Clucas, and that really does make West Perth's job extremely hard.
47 points the margin now in favour of the Sharks. 27.5 minutes gone in the third quarter. Willison with the ball at centre half forward. He's right on the edge of the centre square, trying to get it on quickly. Now goes down towards full forward. That's a beautiful kick. And the mark is taken comfortably by Condon, who has kicked 5 of East Fremantle's 11 goals.
Is that marking power, as we talked about before the game, well, really has been a decisive factor in this contest. East Fremantle, a number of options to kick the ball to, and good marking. Condon with his 5 goals, lining up for number 6, has been an excellent player.
Brendan Barrows looking rather disinterested on the mark as Condon misses to the left. It's Whitelaw going up to take the mark, but he was behind the goal line. East Fremantle led by 21 points at quarter time. They kicked with a breeze in the first term, 17 points at half time. It was 5-3 to 110, but they've been dominant in this third term. They've added 6 goals to West Perth's 1 as Rayner prepares to bring the ball back into play. Wilson, using his body solidly on Condon, takes the mark as the siren sounds for three-quarter time here at Subiaco Oval. And in the second semi, East Fremantle are 11-5-71 to West Perth 2-12-24.
Well, a very one-sided second semi-final, and that man, Damien Condon, has had a fair say in it. He's kicked 5 goals for East Fremantle to give him 50 for the season. Earl Spalding has been a live wire. He has 3. Clucas, Collicker and Melody, the singles, and very easy to find on the right-hand side, West Perth side of the ledger. O'Brien's goal came at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter. Uni's came at the 3rd-minute mark of that third, and he looks a little bit perplexed, John Dimmer, trying to wonder what has gone wrong this afternoon. These teams were streets ahead of the rest of the competition. We mentioned that East Fremantle finished 2 games clear of West Perth. West Perth finished a thumping 5 games clear of 3rd position. So West Perth, in actual fact, were 28 premiership points ahead of the 3rd place team in the competition, Subiaco, and they've played like it this afternoon, Gary.
Well, they've been terrific from the word go. Their pressure on West Perth, their run out of their back line. They've taken very good options from their back line, bring the ball into the midfield. They haven't messed around too much in the midfield. Wherever possible, whenever they've created that loose man in the midfield. And then we see Tony McHale. Obviously, Tony's got some sort of an injury, working his way to the East Fremantle huddle. Very cruel camera shot there. But Tony's obviously pretty pleased. His leg's not too good, but he'd be pretty pleased inside that his team's playing very well. And it's every occasion they've tried to get the ball. We mentioned before the game in summing up their marking power, the players down there such as Spalding, Fedema, Condon, Willison, these types of O'Brien as a leading player, these types of player were going to cause West Perth problems, and that's exactly what's happened. Get the ball quickly to them, get them one out, get numbers around them, because West Perth will be forced to do the spalling, bring the ball to the ground. And, well, East Fremantle have done it very well on all occasions. They've tried to work the ball very quickly into their forward line, inside their 50-metre zone, putting it to an attacking position in the corridor, and the rest as well. Condon has been terrific with his 5 goals, Spalding with 3, and, well, they've just dominated pretty much all over the field today, Glenn.
The game day ball competition has been very popular throughout the home and away season. Congratulations to Mark Palmer. I'm not sure if that's the Mark Palmer that captained University in cricket, a very good wicketkeeper. In one stage, that Mark Palmer was in the Sheffield Shield squad, but Mark Palmer of Ballajura, it may be the same man, who was able to tell us that Gerard Neesham last coached Claremont in 1994. And interestingly, in this morning's paper, the Tigers are going to advertise for their coaching position, so Gerard Neesham may well find himself back at Claremont, although Daryl Panizza certainly would be a strong candidate. There's the game day ball. Now, the game day ball competition has officially ended. Next week at the preliminary final at three-quarter time, we'll have the draw, and the winner All those that have been individual round by round game day ball winners will go into the final draw, and the successful person drawn out of the barrel will win a corporate box for 8 people here at the West Star Rules Grand Final a fortnight tomorrow. So good luck. That to be drawn 3/4 time next Sunday or next weekend. We're not too sure when the preliminary final will actually be played. Well, the crew that has brought you the match today, the City of Perth International Tattoo. They were busy a couple of months ago in Perth Supreme Court Gardens, and that will be aired tonight on ABC TV at 9:30. And plenty of action, bagpipes, brass bands, some horses, and even some cannon fire I think you'll find from Supreme Court Gardens, and that on air on ABC TV tonight at 9:30. Well, it's been one-way traffic on the scoreboard this afternoon, and the statistics individually, as we have a look at the aggregate stats on the screen. Wally, who's been seeing a lot of the ball. And interestingly, just looking over your shoulder, Ron Skender, he's been used like Sean Wren today. He's got a lot of link play around the ground for West Perth.
Yes, he's done well with 8 kicks and 9 hand passes, but the individual stats are dominated by Martin Melody for East Fremantle. 16 kicks and 7 hand passes for 23 disposals to 3/4 time. Condon is next best for East Fremantle, and he has about half of that number. 10 kicks, 2 hand passes for a total of 12. Rosa 5 and 7, and Willison 5 and 6. They're best for East Fremantle. For West Perth, Skender, as we mentioned, 8 kicks, 9 hand passes for 17. Darren O'Brien 9 and 7 for 16. Kelly 8 and 5 for 13, and Rayner 7 and 5 for 12. Free kicks 16 to the Sharks, 15 to West Perth. And inside 50 metres, 30 for East Fremantle, 28 for West Perth, very close. Centre breaks 5 to the Sharks, 3 to the Falcons.
Just if you look at the stats, East Fremantle 6 more possessions than West Perth, and that inside 50 obviously goes to show East Fremantle using the ball far better than what West Perth are.
What I didn't give you there, Gary, was inside 50 for the quarter. It was 15-6 in favour of East Fremantle.
Certainly a dominant quarter, and as we look at some of the highlights of the game so far and of the third quarter, just getting East Fremantle, you'll notice in these pictures numbers around the ball, particularly in the midfield area. East Fremantle usually leading the fall at the ball and putting enormous pressure on West Perth. This is one of West Perth's goals. This is the uni goal. They eventually, for being able to break through Skender, who's been a good player for West Perth, getting the ball to uni. And at that stage, West Perth really did come out firing and were throwing the best shot at East Fremantle. But just as the quarter progressed, East Fremantle just answering every challenge. And this is the type of way the ball being brought into the midfield.
Well, it looks like East Fremantle is destined for the grand final in a fortnight's time. See the second of those left foot snapshots there by Earl Spalding. Tony McHale would be no doubt happy with his charges this afternoon. He's on the boundary with Rod Willett.
Tony, the first 10 minutes showed that East Fremantle were ready to play. Yeah, you know, they've been terrific all day, our players. Their pressure's been great. They've applied enormous pressure, and we just got to make sure we continue it on. And liken it to last year in '97, we're in this position in the last quarter and we got run over, and we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen today.
There's been plenty of ball for Condon and Spalding to play well.
Yeah, there has. You know, our midfields have provided a number of opportunities for those players, and they really capitalised that quarter. Earl Spalding came into the game.
Thanks, Tony. Well done.
Paul Whitelaw wins it down in the middle, knocks it out of the centre square for West Perth. They trail by an even 8 goals. Being harassed there is Chambers, loses the ball in favour of Pobjoy, who's normally pretty fleet of foot. He gathers it on the outer wing for the Sharks, kicks them up towards half forward. Spalding couldn't take the mark. Wilson did better than the hand passes. Poor socket forward by Durkay. That was clever. Opportunity for Willison, who gives it back. The hand pass ends up with Klukas. He gets tackled. In the end, it's Melody, a high up and under. It's drifting and drifting away and has gone out of bounds on the full. Barrows had taken the mark, but the wrong side of the line. He goes short. Oh, almost O'Brien an opportunity. Durkay gets the crumbs, gets away from a lunging player there in Julian. Goes short across the half-forward line. Condon, with 5 goals to his credit, gathers. Given plenty of time. In the end, though, he's been penalised for holding the ball. They're allowed the advantage, West Perth. Barrows gathered the loose footy, kicked to the members' side. The mark was taken by Steele, who gives off by hand to Duckworth. Kicks to the attacking 50. West Perth couldn't take the mark in front there. The player who was trying to take the mark was Kelly. In the end, Brunton gets it. And that pretty well sums up what has been a dark day for the Falcons.
Well, it does. He had plenty of time then to straighten up and line up the goals in a proper fashion. And, well, he just decided to blaze away. Obviously thought he was under a lot more pressure than he actually was. And that's just an indication of a side under pressure.
He had a very good first quarter, Dean Brunton, but he's one of those that's faded out of the game as he fades back in to take a good mark at right half forward.
On cue, Well,
let's hope he can do something with this. He missed a very easy shot for goal in the second term from about 10 metres out. Kolika, almost a good mark. Rosa off the ground. Pobjoy leads Chambers back. Chambers was busy putting his boot on. And there's plenty of support for Pobjoy as Madigan runs out of the back pocket. Kicks towards centre wing. Rayner up at the back. Another chance here for West Perth. Duckworth chips towards half forward. He saw the leads from both Kelly and Logan. Kelly confronted by Madigan, then comes back the other way, but turns it over by kicking it straight to Stagg. So there's nothing obvious at the moment that suggests that West Perth are going to make a contest out of this. 11th kick for John Stagg. It's a shocker. Floats towards the boundary line as though the ball was flat. There'll be a throw in at left half forward for West Perth. The Falcons are lamentable 2 goals 12 in ideal conditions here at Subiaco Oval, and they're trailing East Fremantle, who are 11-6. East Fremantle score alone is an indication that there's nothing wrong with the conditions. They've just been a greatly superior team. Spalding allowing Vilsich to run onto the hand pass, hooks it back in towards centre half back for West Perth, that is, and the mark is taken by Malice. His kick gets to its target, Steele on the bounce. So that's a shocking hand pass. It bounced to Julian. Fortunately, there was no pressure. And now a relayed kick, and someone was put down in the Shepherd. Steele it was. So it's a free kick to Kim Regol. Had an interesting duel with Durkay, neither player being dominant. Oops. Brunton. It was a dangerous situation there for Bryce Steele, running back with the flight of the ball, but obviously called out of it by Brunton. And there you see 12 disposals so far for Dean Brunton. Not a bad effort in a team that's kicked 2-12, but he just hasn't been able to cure their ills on the forward line as Whitelaw takes a mark on the edge of the centre square. Oh, coming straight back to where Brunton was when he kicked it to him. Nothing gained. But then again, nothing ventured as Curley's kick goes in towards the full forward area. East Fremantle, with deft touch and skill, get it back into the centre square. And here's Condon. He's kicked 5 goals. He's not going to get another one with this disposal. It's with Willison now, and there's no one in the square except Spalding and Wilson. Wilson did very well. Spalding just not able to control the ball as he would have liked. And there will be a boundary throw in at right full forward for the Sharks. Their margin at the moment is 48 points. It's going to be a very convincing victory to go with their qualifying round wins over West Perth by 18 and 41 points. The only 2 games they played. Clucas's kick at goal will land at the top of the square. Wilson can't take the mark, and the shot back on goal is from Stockton, and it's a good one.
We'd love that.
Yes, he's a hard worker and doesn't often get acknowledged statistically for a lot of the work he does.
And the finesse, the kick over the shoulder,
that one will be
point
recorded.
I'm making. You know, he's a pretty much of a dour sort of a player, but he makes a great contest. Look at that, 1 against 3. He comes up with the ball. Look at this, the forwards can do it. I can do it too. Look at that, straight over his shoulder. And yes, he did like it, no doubt about that. But well done, Marshall Stockton. Remember in the pre-season, the Governor's Cup, against West Perth, he received that nasty gash over his head.
Oh, was that the pre-season or the real season, primary season?
Pre-season.
Was it? It was a shocker, wasn't it?
Yes, he had his forehead really badly opened up. In fact, we saw East Fremantle a couple of weeks subsequently. He still had heavy bandaging to cover the scar and the stitches that were no doubt still there when the season started. Now the free kick was to Julian. He comes wide. Chris Rigol's all on his own. Waltzes over the centre line. Goes looking for Whitelaw. Up go the gloved hands. Over the top slides the ball. And we'll have a throw in as Clint Curry is about to come back onto the ground. And Adrian Bromwich, who's been very quiet this afternoon, one of the favourites with the bookmakers for the Sandover medal. In fact, he's the outright favourite with some of the bookmakers around town. Is coming off the ground. Ball thrown in. Whitelaw wins it down. Unable to make ground was Julian. In fact, it was Uni. The ball spills in favour of Willison. One bounce. Two. Running along the boundary line towards the members' wing. He ran a long time that time before the third bounce. Runs on again. Four bounces. He thinks he's Phil Manasseh. He kicks now with the left foot up towards full forward. The only man at home, Barrows, who led Condon to the ball. Brendan Barrows has Rayner breaking to the outer side. Takes the mark. Chambers is on offer towards the outer wing. That's the direction of the kick. Popjoy closes, but is infringed. Either that or the mark has been paid. And Callum Chambers has it at left wing for West Perth. The Falcons, unbelievably, 2 goals, 12 in 3 and a bit quarters of football on a glorious day. Brunton, the chest mark, 70 metres out. That's indirect football, although that's the way Uni led. Hand passes infield to Logan. He'll need to get rid of it in a hurry. Back to Uni. Shoots to become his team's only multiple goal scorer across the face. Now the umpire... That's interesting. The goal umpire signalled out of bounds on the full with his arm directly extended. The boundary umpire is going to throw it in.
Overruled. Throwing it right full forward for the Falcons. It's going to be a West Perth kick. Ron Skender's done very well from the umpires this afternoon. I'm not suggesting that he shouldn't have. He's worked hard to get front position, and he's been acknowledged again here. He's had a good day, Ron Skender. Worked very hard. What has been a pretty ordinary performance by West Perth, but a chance here to kick their third goal. Weight on it. He got it. West Perth, to the ironic cheers of their fans, moved to 3-12. East Fremantle are 12-6, and the margin is 48 points.
Certainly Ron Skender has been one of the hardest workers, probably West Perth's best today. He certainly has tried hard, but really just not enough of his teammates are chipping in. A number of quiet players for West Perth. They're being forced very wide, West Perth, playing around the boundary line, and really very hard to build up any momentum and attack for your forwards when you do build the ball up around the boundary lines.
Margin back as it was at three-quarter time, and even 8 goals in favour of the Sharks. Whitelaw wins it down. Kelly perhaps held but not in possession. Tumbles off the outside of the Whitelaw boot. Uni read it well off hands. Left foot kick, looking for Brunton, who's streaming into the pocket. He gets a good bounce, but can't rein the ball in. Pobjoy gets it, takes on Webb, gets a hand pass away in the end to Kerr. Christian Kelly is there, tumbles a hand pass back towards centre half forward. Colica couldn't gather it. Stockton shovels it forward. Keary gets a kick, having just come back onto the ground a moment ago. Spalding is there at half forward. His hand pass isn't particularly good, but Clucas aids him. He gathers. Matt Clucas goes towards Condon, and he takes the mark. Well, he leapt into the air and then almost landed on the shoulder of Barrows, who just gave the impression he was holding him up. Seeing the replay there, Condon has got the mark and an opportunity for half a dozen. 5 goals, 3 from his 10 kicks to date. This to put the margin beyond 50 points. The Sharks will earn the week off next week. West Perth will be in the preliminary final. He's gone on a spiral torpedo, dropped short. Spalding almost could have marked that. Opportunity there for Melody. Hand pass to Dirk Gay, and off the outside of the right boot, he's put it through. It's all too easy for East Fremantle this afternoon. They have their 13th, and they are ahead by the length of the straight.
So you've got all the answers, and Damien Condon going for the spiral, doesn't get onto it. It drops short, and look, it's all East Fremantle at the front of the pack. Just far too much time. Where are the West Perth opponents? And Gary Durkay quite clever then, rather than using the left foot, just a little stab at it on the side of his right foot. And well, he's a player of great skills. There's no doubt about that, Gary Durkay. Not one of his greatest games today, but certainly he's a player that takes watching, and he can break open a game very quickly.
Well, this is a hiding now. 54 points. We knew these two teams were a cut above the others, and perhaps we were aware that East Fremantle were superior to West Perth, but this really has been a very dominant performance by the Sharks, as Sanders runs onto the ball and kicks towards full forward, and Condon will mark again. shoves Barrows out of the way, almost front on. Brendan Barrows questioning the tactic. The umpire not interested. Nothing wrong with the mark.
I think both players in that contest trying to get the advantage. Just Condon with the superior strength was able to get rid of Barrows and then be playing in front and get the advantage that way.
So Condon kicking for his 6th has missed. Nearly 12 minutes played in the final term. 13-7 to 3-12. Quite remarkable that one team can be as accurate as East Fremantle have been, and in the same game West Perth can be as inaccurate as they've been. It's 85 to 30, 55 points the margin. Barrows high into the centre square. Oh, gee. Steele trying to mark with his fingertips, and as a result, West Perth have given the ball up as Kerry runs towards half forward. Shepherd provided by Melody, who's gone rather quiet. He's not required anymore, and a comfortable mark taken by Steve O'Brien. 2 players in the goal square, but O'Brien wants his slice of the party too. He's been a pretty good goal scorer for East Fremantle since he came across from Victoria. That hasn't contributed today. $13-8 to 3-12.
It's an amazing scoreline for such a fine day for football at Subiaco Oval. Hard and quick underfoot. No threat of rain, and yet 3 goals. Approaching full time. The kick into play by Rayner just has enough carry to get over the lunging arms and finds Chambers, who gives it off to Malice, who goes short to Johnson. West Perth now come wide. Couple of players on offer. Barrows, the skipper, is one. Chips it short. This is an interesting build-up. Logan's all on his own. Now East Fremantle players got near the ball. It's travelled from the goal square to the attacking 50. Logan, short, acrobatic mark. Cricket season's not far away. Uni launched himself at that one and has got it just inside 50. Heath Uni wants to play on. He's got to come back. The umpire had blown time on, so the clock had stopped. Heath Uni, along with Darren O'Brien and Ron Skender, the only goal scorers today, 1 apiece to that trio. Uni towards the goal square. It'll go offline, has the carry that goes through for yet another behind. 3 goals, 13. And you have to search the record books, I think, to find a lower second semi-final score here at Subiaco Oval.
Greg Madigan brings the ball in and gets it into the pocket to Kerr. Kerr's done well on Brunton since that first quarter. And that's a good mark to Popjoy. If it's paid, it is.
Just too many loose East Fremantle players at the moment, just running everywhere.
Here's another of them, Scott Spalding. He's at right centre wing. East Fremantle working into the easterly breeze. Up towards brother Earl, who will get the benefit of a free kick. Earl Spalding from right half forward. Goes towards Condon, with him Barrows. At the front of the pack, Kimra Gold to Rayner. Half pass almost found its target. Rayner comes back to Barrows again. They're working hard. Malice gets it towards the boundary line. Wilson, he's caught. Gee, they're in trouble now. That tackle lingered a long time. And Troy Wilson's going to get a free kick. Sanders.
Pressure by Sanders, but just kept...
I think he had his finger caught in his jumper.
Just kept
That's
hanging
his
on.
story anyway. Troy Wilson, they would have liked and had probably expected a lot more from him today. They certainly needed more when he was in the forward line. Chance at the front of the pack for Kelly. To Malice. Malice around the boundary line, and Johnson takes the mark between left centre wing and left half forward. He's also spent time on the bench, a usually reliable forward. He gets it to within scoring distance, inside 50. Collicutt bringing it to the front of the pack. Kerry clears for the Sharks around the boundary line, out of sight of the ground. The umpire's whistle's gone, and there's a Shepherd off the ball when West Perth had the numbers 2-1. And so the free kick goes to East Fremantle. And that short kick from Melody has found Sanders. Sanders at right centre wing, in towards centre half forward. They straighten it up now. And Wilson goes up in front of O'Brien and takes a strong mark. A few West Perth players adding to their statistical tally here, but the damage has been done well and truly. Chris Regol has it. Duckworth. He kicks inside 50. Brunton gets to the front, opposed by Kerr. Madigan beaten by the bounce. Chance for Skender. Couldn't keep it in. Yes, he can. Rose is there, and he pulls the ball back and through for the minor score. Skender not happy with Wayne Roser. I didn't see what happened. Madigan brings it in quickly and easily. Pobjoy. And Pobjoy can go towards the outer wing, and he will find O'Brien, who's interfered with by Duckworth. So, and now in turn he can go to Egan if he wants to. Chooses not to. Just holds things up a little bit as East Fremantle start to set themselves up in the forward line.
Steve O'Brien goes long to the attacking 50 at right half forward. Sanders is the target, with a good mark in front by Wilson. And that's going to be a meterage penalty, either 25 or 50, for not getting up quick enough. See a replay of the mark here. He did well there, Wilson, and interestingly, he's discarded the gloves as well.
I think it was for Sanders actually dropping the ball on Wilson's head, not giving the ball back to him on the foot.
It's a pretty handy 50-metre penalty. It's almost brought Sanders to the attacking edge of the centre square as far as West Perth is concerned. Wilson now, long kick. Little lob about 15 metres out. Mifka's down on the forward line, couldn't mark. Uni socketed forward, but in the end the cavalry arrives. Greg Madigan knocks it through for another behind. This is a recording. 3 goals, 15 as far as the Falcons are concerned on the scoreboard. Good work by Madigan. Played in a Hawthorn premiership way back in 1989. He kicks in to the outer half-back flank. Players camped underneath it. O'Brien in the front couldn't mark. Marshall Stockton there for East Fremantle. A hand pass to Kirry, on and off the bench today. Gives it back then to Melody. He goes direct, looking for Condon, who had to prop under an awkward pass. Recovers, hand pass to Clucas. Shoots with the left foot and should have done better. Another behind to East Fremantle.
Don't make 89 sound too far away, Glenn.
Were you playing back then?
It's not that long ago.
It is with the way you walk. That injured knee of yours.
East Fremantle out by 54 points.
Should see the way I run.
Kick in finds Malice. Can't recognise it. Kick towards centre wing. Steele takes the man on. That was Willison, and gets it to Barrows. He'd want to hurry. Kicks inside 50. Skender the target. Chance at ground level for Uni. He went without it. Madigan emerges from the pack with the ball and uses it well. Kirry at half-back. Kirry towards centre wing. And Kim Regol up in front, takes a good mark. So West Perth will be saddling up again next week. As the kick goes towards half forward, Rosa trying to back out of trouble. In fact, backed into it. And there will be a bounce about 60 metres out from the Falcons' goal. They've kicked just 1 goal in this term, as they did in the third and as they did in the second quarter, and were goalless during the first. It's been a very lean day as Julian has caught with the ball. Bounce in the same position. 13-9 to 3:15. 20.5 minutes played in the final term. Second semi-final. East Fremantle set to go through to the grand final. And they'll be the first team, I think, since Claremont in 1993 and 1994 to play in successive grand finals. It's not an easily achieved feat these days, with players being drafted, usually from the top teams. And they'll have plenty of incentive to do well once they get to the grand final, given their nail-biting defeat last year at the hands of Souths, as Duckworth pops the hand pass over the top. Malice from ahead of the centre line, kicks towards full forward. Skender comes out, misjudges it. Madigan almost the mark, recovers best, and he's got Pobjoy loose out on the outer flank, but decides to go back to the goal line. And West Perth advance to 3-16. East Fremantle 13-9.
Kick into play by Madigan. Spalding, Scott Spalding, who, like his brother Earl, started at Perth. Kicks wide towards the outer side, over the back, Willison and Chambers. Chambers in front for West Perth. Shows good pace, then loses the ball. Was that a push in the back? The umpire says it is. Willison disagrees, as you can see. Chambers has got the free kick. And a 25 or 50 metre penalty. There's the push, half back, half side. And the 50 metre penalty may well have been for Willison's verbal barrage of umpire French, who now blows the whistle and play can continue. Chambers chips it in looking for Uni in front of Stagg, but the boundary line looms large. It's a fierce face, and no wonder his team hasn't played too well today. Whitelaw and Egan. Christian Kelly there beside the ruckman. Socket off the ground by East Fremantle Stockton. Lucks a fortune. Willison's taken the mark. Wheels onto his trusty left boot. Rosa, defensive edge of the centre square. In and out of danger. Then back in danger. His kick blanketed off the boot by Steele. Malice is there, fighting for the ball on the ground. The umpire calls for a bounce on the outer wing.
Just over 23 minutes played in the final term here at Subiaco Oval. Second semi-final, East Fremantle in total control. Bilsich charging at the ball, but ran past it and allowed Malice to claim it for West Perth. Hooks back towards half-forward. Stagg used his body well, but couldn't quite pull the mark in. Hand pass from Kerr to Bilsich. He's got players free ahead of the game if the hand pass gets to them. It doesn't. Kelly to Chris Regold, to Rayner, who's tackled well by Scott Spalding, and that won't do the shoulder any good.
He looks sore, doesn't he?
That right shoulder, as you can see, he was injured in the opening minute of the game. He's been out there for almost the duration. There's the rest of the ABC crew, former Subiaco teammates, Phil Lamb and Rob Willett, as Johnson sends the Falcons forward. Madigan up over the top. Melody close to the line. I'm not sure about that. The boundary umpire is saying that that went out on the full. Open your eyes, said Martin Melody. I think he has a case. I think the ball was over the boundary line before he actually touched it. Was it?
Oh, no, the trainer had the best view.
I was busy watching Julian take the mark in the pocket.
And the trainer completely obscured the vital bit of vision.
It certainly looked initially, or originally, from up here, as though Melody was over the line when the ball hit his legs, but it's not going to make any difference. The margin, if you've just joined us, is 53 points in favour of East Fremantle, 25 minutes into the final quarter, as Julian kicks at goal and misses. And West Perth move to 3-17. It's quite literally inexplicable, that scoreline, isn't it?
Well, what's more bizarre is the fact they've had 2 less scoring shots, and yet they trail by nearly 9 goals. The kick into play, Popjoy takes the mark, off by hand to the busy Melody, who kicks wide towards the outer side. Duckworth, good chest mark, running with the flight of the ball. Simon Duckworth in his debut season from Coolin out in the wheat belt. Kick short, not short enough though. But clear Julian at the back. Rosa has been paid the mark.
He's had a great year, Wayne Rosa, hasn't he? He's just such a dogged player. I think got a little bit of cramp here, but gets a job each week, and he not only negates his opponent, but he gets plenty of the footy himself.
If you're a batsman, you'd be a bit unlucky if that was given out.
I think everyone's gone to sleep, Glenn.
I think that was a half volley. Durkay an opportunity, an advantage free kick. Off the ball, Spalding was retarded. Now, Durkay gets it, a quick kick forward. O'Brien couldn't mark. Wilson spins away from the O'Brien tackle. He's on his team's defensive 50, kicks West Perth back poorly to the members' wing, and that wasn't a great attempt to mark either by Kerr, but he has the ability to follow up and then goes short and finds Kirry. 87 playing 35. The Sharks have led from start to finish. Oh, that is a shocking kick. That's like a racehorse that spots a ghost or a shadow running down the straight. Something startled Kirry. He's kicked it straight out of bounds on the full. Julian to bring it in.
What we've seen in the last few minutes from everyone involved hasn't been all that inspiring, has it?
Spiro Mallis started on the bench. He probably wishes he was back there. He's got the ball at the moment. Will come very wide. Duckworth can't rein it in. That'll be out of bounds. No. Well done by Scott Spalding to Kirry. On to Clucas. Back to Scott Spalding. That's a thumping kick from 55 metres. Condon, did he get a hand on it? Doesn't matter. It hit the post in the end. East Fremantle get their 10th behind of the afternoon, which is rapidly becoming the evening.
53 points to margin, and we're beyond the 27-minute mark of the final quarter. Second semi-final, with East Fremantle in total control. There's the siren. East Fremantle goes through to the grand final, and West Perth will play the winner of the first semi-final between Subiaco and East Perth. And East Fremantle winning 13-10-88 to West Perth's 3-17-35. The margin 53 points.
Greg Madigan all smiles, and so too 20 of his teammates out there for the Sharks today. An amazing scoreline as far as West Perth were concerned. They were held goalless in the opening quarter. They kicked just 5 behinds and then added a goal in each of the 3 subsequent terms. 3 goals, 17, and on a glorious day, they've been beaten by 53 points. And we're all scratching our heads in the commentary position. You cannot imagine how West Perth could have been so ordinary this afternoon. You see 20 scoring shots to 23, and yet they've gone down by 53 points. Earl Spalding in the cool conditions now with the sun about to set, dons the tracksuit top. His brother Scott there, he was a prominent player, and Colica on the left of screen was a very good player today for East Fremantle, particularly early. Greg Egan did well in the ruck, but West Perth, well, they could live to fight another day, but